It was just the best podcast that I have ever had.
If you have decided that you are for NIMSET, it's a very solid option. It opens you the possibility of getting into a very good company and getting a very stable job. Very stable job means a very good life. You cannot imagine what all changes once you get a stable job. It really defines the standard of your life. Like, consider this motivation if you want. The kind of job that you get defines the food that you eat, the place that you stay, the people that you talk to, the kind of time that you spend, the games that you play, where you go out, the people you hang out with, everything. I'll give you an example for non-CS student, that is me. I did my BSc in physics. I think in this whole podcast, this might be the most important question: how we form questions.
So first of all, thank you so much, sir, for joining us, for coming to the podcast. And let's just start with a brief introduction to our audience.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for inviting me. And for introduction, my name is Nirmal, and I completed my MCA from NIT Kurukshetra in 24, and I'm now working as a software engineer, SD1 at Amazon. And yeah, that's the story so far in brief.
You mentioned that you haven't prepared for NIMSET. You were preparing for the exam called AAI-ATC. So what's that exam and what was your thought process? How you chose NIMSET?
Actually, this exam AAI ATC, it's stand for Airports Authority of India Air Traffic Controller. It's not an entrance examination. It's a government examination for a job. So at that point, I was looking for literally anything. I just wanted either a job or a PG with a prospect of a job. So AIATC was one solid option that I saw because I did my BSc in physics and there were not a lot of many options. Um, like if you did BTech, you have a lot of options, but if after BSc physics, there was not many. So AIATC was one of them, and I prepared like very seriously for that, and that did not work out. And NIMSET had a very similar kind of what do you say syllabus, and so yeah, I was giving many exams, and uh, MCA, NIT was one of them, and I really did not choose NIT, MCA. It was more like among all the doors I knocked, NIT, MCA opened.
ओके सो काफ़ी बच्चे होते हैं जो 12th पास करते हैं सो आफ्टर दैट दे हैव फ्यू चॉइसेस लाइक सपोज उनका जेई नहीं निकल रहा होता है तो दे आइदर गो फॉर प्राइवेट बीटेक और दे शुड गो फॉर बीसीए प्लस एमसीए सो व्हाट रोड मैप यू वुड सजेस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू योर एक्सपीरियंस सो फार
Yeah, as you said, the alternative to BTech is not BCA; it's BCA plus MCA. So if you just
यस
calculate the number of years, it will take. So like that's one logic to again opt for BTech, I would say. And but at the same time, if you did any UG course already, and you want to get a good name in your resume, then NIT is a very solid option. Like MCA from NIT is a very solid option. If you are just after 12th, both will be kind of equal. Like BCA plus MCA from a normal college will be very equal to BTech from a like normal non IIT NIT kind of college.
so let's talk about your mca journey so how was your first year in nit how was the experience and all what was your thought process suppose if a person is going to join nit so what should he do what not to do
Mhm.
these kind of stuff.
Okay, first year of NIT was for us, it was online, and I would say many of the subjects were what you could say, like some of them are really useful. Like some of them really helps you build your mindset on that. Let's say like there was some one subject called I think discrete mathematics, which eventually helps in graph theory and everything. But there were some like completely useless subjects in every sense. So you'll have to spend time on them, and at the same time, um, you have no other way around it. So even from the first year, I think you should not prioritize like the college academics very much. I see many people doing that. People putting a lot of hours studying a lot into getting in like 99.1 9.2 CGPA. It doesn't help. First year, you have time, like that's the time to make friends, have some like chill time. And when you are building your circle, like when you are forming your friend circle itself, if you could start like a good culture of learning together also, that will be also good. That I would say is secondary. Getting a good circle will be primary.
How to make that culture like how one should initiate suppose नया बैच अगर जा रहा है, तो हाउ दे शुड क्रिएट अ कोडिंग कल्चर और ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट जहाँ पे सब ग्रो करें, सब स्किल्स सीखें और ये सब बातें हों?
Okay. So it's very strongly driven by FOMO, fear of missing out. Let's say there are three people who are doing internships. Everyone else feels some pressure. Okay, I should also do something. That really helps. Let's say in our batch there were I remember this, there were three students. I can say the name also. Jayant, you might know them also. Jayant,
Yes.
Vijay, and Harsh. They used to go to library every evening and do lead code, just lead code. So
Yeah.
the thing is, everyone else feel motivated about it. Like it I don't think motivation is the right word. Like everyone will feel the fear of missing out. Like, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm not like doing enough. That really actually helps in building the culture. So what I'm saying is, let's say somehow three, four people start doing it, it grows eventually. How can we get that two, three people? It's like, three people sitting together. I think they sat together and decided like, okay, we will do this. We will go to library every day. It's a very manual decision. It doesn't grow naturally. That three people really help. Like they did not intentionally come to us and say, we are doing this. You have to also do this. Otherwise, you'll not do placement. They did nothing of that. Just us seeing them go to the library was enough. So if
Indirect peer pressure.
who will yes, yes, yes. So yeah, yes, that's one of the thing.
या एक्चुअली जब हम लोग भी आए थे एनआईटी में, सो देयर वाज वन इंट्रोडक्शन विद सीनियर्स इन हॉस्टल. आई रिमेंबर दैट नाइट वेरी वेल. सो what happened was, all of the seniors were giving having our introduction and all, we were having fun, but all of a sudden you went to solve lead code. One of the sirs said that Nirmal sir is going to solve some lead code. So that was the dedication we were seeking throughout the NIT, but haven't got that.
And probably they were joking. Probably Rahul might have said this, but did Rahul? Yes, yes. Was most probably joking. You are making. I think.
Okay, sir. So you mentioned internships and lead codes. So probably you have done some decent amount of internships. So you mentioned like you started with Flutter because it was easy and easy to get internships in that domain as well. So how one should decide his domain, like कौन सा डोमेन में का जाके काम करना चाहिए जो इजी टू लर्न हो या फिर ग्रोथ कैसे मतलब डिसाइड करे कि वेयर टू स्टार्ट बेसिकली.
ओके, सो ये डिसीजन के लिए 3-4 बॉक्सेस चेक होना चाहिए। पहला होगा कि यू शुड हैव एक्चुअल इंटरेस्ट कि बट अगेन बिफोर ट्राइंग इट आउट हाउ डू यू सी इफ यू हैव इंटरेस्ट और नॉट देयर आई वुड सजेस्ट वन थिंग दिस देयर इज दिस यूट्यूब चैनल कॉल्ड फायरशिप you might have heard.
Fireship.
Do some yes, Fireship. What they do, it's like they give 100 video of every tech. If you search for Flutter in 100 seconds, you will not be able to learn Flutter in 100 seconds, but you will be able to get an idea. What is Flutter? Okay, what does it do? Do you feel some love at first sight towards that thing? Good. Otherwise, you'll have to look a little more and then maybe try other options. That's one thing. Like, make sure you have interest in, you feel some kind of interest towards it before even starting. Could be Flutter, it could be React, it could be anything. And second thing will be, if you are doing MCA, you are already taking your money from parents. So, like,
Mm.
if you earn some money parallelly, that will be good. If you could get some paid internship, that should be good. So, what I would suggest is look for the market also a little bit. Go to Internshala, just see what are the top, what are the companies looking for. In my first year, it was mainly Flutter. There was some React, and by the third year, there was more on the back end. I believe Rust and all had some scope. So yeah, by your time, it might change. By like yeah, um, that should be the second box. So yeah, these are the main things that you should look for. And my personal suggestion will be to start with front end, because after you go forward, like to get an actual job or something, it won't really matter what you did, like front end or back end. What you did did not really do not really matter. But front end might be a good start because you can see the results of what you are doing. It might be slightly more interesting when you start with it. Again, there could be personal preferences. It's my personal suggestion that, like, instead of starting with, let's say, pure Node.js or Django or something, where the only result that you see are API responses, which might not be very interesting. If you start with something else like Flutter or React or something, okay, I write 5 lines of code, I see a box there. I write 10 lines of code, I see an animation there. That might be when you start with.
And so, like you were saying, like we are when we are building front end, so we have some result parallelly going on, so that gives us the motivation to build more, basically.
It was like that for me. It might not be that for everyone. I know people who really do not want to touch front end. But yeah, to begin with, if you have no clue, give front end a try.
Okay, okay. And sir, suppose after 1 year we want to apply for internships. So after 1 year, how my resume should look like हमारे resume क्या क्या ऐसा होना चाहिए, और how what we have to prepare for internships after 1 year if we talk about.
Okay. Uh, for internships, uh, there are two ways to go forward, I would say. One is to get a very formal internship in a big company, people who get into Microsoft, Google, that kind of internships. That's one route. The second route is to get into start with, like, startup internships are usually 2 or 3 months, and big companies internships are usually 6 months. So if you are going for MCA and you are not looking at that official internship semester, it might be a good decision to go for, like, side business kind of internships. You get into a startup, you do there for 2 3 months, you quit and you go for another one. It's a good thing. So uh, so yeah, that's how it goes. Like, if you when you are looking for the internships, if you are looking for those startup kind of internships, we can just look for Internshala or some website like that and get into it. Otherwise, for Google, Microsoft, Amazon, like, I hope you know the route. Like, you somehow try your best to get a referral and try to do DSA again and again. And yeah, that's it. And your resume should have 1 or 2 projects. That's all before the first internship.
Okay. And suppose, like, what's the importance of internships? Suppose after after 3 year, when we sit for the placements, so one have only internships and good amount of projects, like quality projects. The other person haven't prepared very well and haven't got any internships, but he has a good amount of projects. So how they should, motivate themselves to for interviews and all, because they might be feeling कि हमने internships वगैरह नहीं की, so we are lacking behind with those guys. So what's your opinion on that?
Okay. So if you have internships, that's more on the lines of reputation. Okay. This guy has done 2 3 internships. He has some kind of reputation. If it's in some big company, okay, he's very reputed. We might give a higher chance of hiring. That doesn't assure your performance in your interview. But at the same time, if you did really good projects and did really well in your actual preparation, you are really good in actual interviews. You'll be able to perform better. So it it gets to a question of how can you get into the interview. If you do not have an internship, getting good projects will help. Like, you should have something in your resume that's worth looking at. Like, not just 1 or 2 website clones or something like that. You should have something, like something that the recruiter sees and, okay, this is unusual. There should be something like that.
Okay, so talking about unusual, you built a Chrome extension. So can you please talk about that Chrome extension? What was it? And we were it was around 10,000 plus users were there. So how you did you build it basically? What was the thought process कि okay चलो fun के लिए करते हैं, या फिर you followed a particular approach to find a problem and then started solving it. So how was it?
So yeah, you were right to point that in my resume, the unusual thing that recruiter looks at was this, particularly the number that it has active users. So how that project? I'll talk about that project. It's a browser extension which adds a graph into GitHub website. If you open the GitHub website, you can see a list of commits, but you don't have an idea how those commits are connected. Like, how is the branching? When was the merging? There's no such a graph. Uh,
Okay.
so if there is such a feature within GitHub, it would have been nice. That
Mhm.
okay, but I don't work at GitHub, so I cannot build new features in GitHub. So what do I do?
Yes, yes.
The clear answer is you want to build something into a website and you do not own that website, the answer is browser extension.
Okay.
Question goes to, okay, how do I technically implement this? How do I get the data required? Okay, does GitHub have any open APIs which we can query to? Okay, good. There was. Then we look for, okay, how do I authenticate? This kind of many questions to solve. And then there, like, during this project, there was a lot of things to do, from starting from designing the UI in Figma to starting to draw some diagram, like or like how does the data flow, how do we connect between GitHub, browser, authentication, all these things. Like, it's a really fun thing if you can start from an idea stage for a project and bring it to execution. And if after the execution, if we can get some users, I wouldn't say that that always happens. I have built around 10 projects of the same scale, only one of them got users. Fine.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
get users, totally fine. Build an impressive projects, that's the main thing. Like, that itself is a very fun experience, like to see your vision becoming the reality, but with your own hands. That's really nice. And coming to how you can find such more projects, it's up to you. Like, again, that should check a few boxes. That is, uh, it will usually take around 3-4 months to complete a project, and that project should be such that you will be able to keep your interest in that for 3-4 months. Let's say you pick a project, you start, and after a month you lose the interest. There's nothing you can do. So before picking that project itself, you should make sure, okay, I love this project. If I have to marry this project tomorrow, I'll do it. If you're that sure, then go for it. Otherwise, look for another one. Yeah. One small thing, browser extensions are a very easy and good thing to get into, because it's very easy to identify. You visit any website, you see a feature missing, that's a potential browser extension. And it's very easy to build also. People might, like, if I ask you right now, how is a Chrome extension built? Probably you will not be able to answer unless you have worked on it.
Yes, sir. I don't know. I don't know basically.
See, people think it's something very complex, but let me tell you,
Yes.
pure JavaScript. You just write some JavaScript, it will be added to your browser, nothing complex. Okay, people do not know this. If you say that you build a Chrome extension which does this, they do not understand how it's done, but it is actually very simple. So I would suggest look for Chrome extension ideas that you might be able to build, because it's very easy to build, it's very easy to publish, very easy to get users also.
Mm. Because we were very like when we were in NIT, like our friend circle was very narrow minded. Like we used to do this Mon stack, Mon stack, Mon stack. If a particular person or student is pursuing Mon stack, everyone follows him. Okay, सब भाई ये बता दो, भाई ये बता दो, मेरे को ये error आ रहा है, वो error आ रहा है. No one was exploring other domains. So like अगर coding culture अगर वैसा है, तो if a person is following full stack, दूसरा person backend कर रहा है, तीसरा पर्सन डेटा साइंस वगैरह कर रहा है. So we have the broad minded folks with us, and it eventually helps us कि okay, हमें भी अपना डोमेन फाइंड करने में फिर इजी रह जाता है. Yeah. So the next question is, you were also a member of student council. So what was it? What was about all that, and how it eventually helped you in terms of placements or in terms of network building or something?
I'll start with the second part. How did it help in placements? Absolutely nothing. Like, complete in terms of
Yes.
but college time, it gives opportunity to go out, okay, do something. Like, for example, if you remember, for like the year in which we were conducting the convocations, like the president of India came to the college.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
or like that, or like, kind of organized by. If you remember, the students were not even allowed in the venue.
Yes.
But we were managing. Student council was managing it. We were, like, doing menial work, but we were in charge of that. But yeah, those
Having the privilege.
actually fun. Yeah, it absolutely is. We got to saw the person at least. Yeah, I you saw only the helicopter, but we saw the person.
Yes, yes.
So,
We were inside, locked inside the hostel.
yeah. So those things are. But when it comes to placements, no, it doesn't really help. Like, I don't think it helps in any placements. Like, unless you try to speak about in the interview or something. If let's say if I'm a recruiter and I look at your resume and I see that, okay, you are a member of student council member. Okay, so what? I don't think it gives, like, it's my personal opinion. I don't think it gives a very strong value there. Like not just student council, any activities that you do in college, it's good for you. It helps you have a good time during college. Do not think that's enough for your resume. For your resume, you need something else.
Okay, okay. Got it. So, suppose the like how to plan your whole 2.5 years of MCA at NIT. If you have to summarize all that, like suppose there is a time travel machine and you have to go back into the time and you have to start your MCA all over again. How you will pursue it?
Uh, for with if since you said time travel, there is it said that if you move a chair in the past, like everything will change, right? So some kind of stuff. So since I somehow got into Amazon, I'll try to follow everything I said I did back then. But yeah, speaking on a realistic perspective, what I will do is first year I'll try to probably do some lead code or something, not get into any serious projects, learn something. Second year probably I'll you know build something, spend time on building something. And if I could go back, one thing I'll do is I'll not do it as a personal project. I'll involve more people into it, because with the first year I'll try to build some network, like find some friends who might be interested. And then the second year I'll create a group of people who might be interested to join do the project together, and then do it together. And third year for third year, I would say the answer should be the same for everyone. You should stop your projects and go back to lead code or DSA again, because like
Okay.
like whatever projects, good, keep it. They can be used in your interviews for answering, but now what you need is, for interviews you need DSA. So spend the third year only in DSA.
And suppose we don't have any internships in my resume. So, what's the ideal number of projects one should have in his resume?
If you don't have internships, the main problem I see is not the number of internships, but how much can your resume reach? It's an A4 paper, right? So if
Yes, sir.
it has to reach point, right? So just think about that. Like I wouldn't say any particular number. Like two projects might be enough, but it should be like you should have something on your resume that it doesn't look odd. And coming to projects, realistically speaking, the recruiters will not even look at the second project, first line. That's it. So if you are trust them with that, good. The remaining 2 3 projects are for filling the resume, and maybe with the possibility, like with the slight possibility that they might ask questions. So not very important, I would say, but you should have something to fill the resume. That's it.
Okay, okay, got it. So, talking about placements, so in starting you skipped some companies that was giving package around 10 LPA, and हमें भी वही लगा कि okay, sir deserves more. Like we all thought कि we deserve more, but in junior batch we were talking about sir deserves more. So this is the bold choice, but we are with him. But what was the result of that particular thing? I would like to hear from you.
Okay. So think about how it will feel psychologically. Okay, everyone in your batch are sitting for 10 LPA placements. I feel like I deserve more than that. I do not sit for it. Then what happens? They all get placed. And I kept waiting for bigger companies to come, and none of them came. And I end up with a smaller placement. It's the worst thing imaginable. Like you end up being a fool in front of everyone. That's exactly what happened. Like whenever, like, my seniors used to come and tell me, like some seniors who were like close to me told me that they were having a discussion among themselves, or they felt very bad about like my situation. Okay, I skipped all those and then I ended up in a very bad place, which was actually the truth. Ending up as a fool, and at the same time, having no good package in hand. So again, I would say skipping company is a very bold choice, and in 99% of the times you should not take that choice, because you cannot predict what good companies might come. And at the same time, if you get a smaller company, you can again try for off campus things. Yes, might not be as effective as on campus placements. You might lose. Let's say I sat for 10 LPA placement company, I got it, and then another 25 LPA company came and I did not get it. That's a possibility, but that's a minor possibility. It's much more important that you get at least one placement. So my suggestion will be, don't make the mistake I made. Sit for the placement.
we have a job security, and then we can try off campus like as much as can we can, because वो pressure और भी बढ़ता जाता है, because the environment that we have in NIT during placements, it's so tensed and so depressing as well, because अगर वहाँ पे कोई बच्चा अगर सेलिब्रेट कर रहा है तो इधर थोड़ा बहुत रहता है कि यार चलो धीरे धीरे सबका हो रहा है, हमारी बारी कब आएगी. So these kind of thoughts we have in mind during the placement season. Suppose there's this student who is like you, and there is this company which is service based. Okay, so do we have to think about this? Okay, मैं service based में नहीं जाना चाहता, मुझे सिर्फ product based ही चाहिए as a fresher. So what's your take on this?
Um, Again, very bold choice to make. Um, how can we predict that if you skip a company and no company came, like you cannot predict that more companies will come in no market situations. Market might go down, market might go up. So would you prefer to bet your life on an unpredictable thing? You probably should not, even if it is service based, unless it's something very objectionable. Let's say you see a package of, let's say, 3.5 lakh or 4 lakh, usually doesn't come to NIT, but let's say something like that come, and uh, and you are around 90% sure that better companies will come. In that case, yes, you might skip. Otherwise, let's say for a 10 LPA service based company, you should never skip. You should think about that also, right? Like if you will you be able to be satisfied, like with a decent financial situation with that also. In that case, yes, you should go for it.
Okay, okay, got it. And like you got the service based company. And how was your journey of off-campus placements? Because we all have heard off-campus is too tough, and you were the brilliant one. कैसा था आपके लिए वो पूरा journey prepare करना? Like how much time it took to on-campus placements, service-based to Amazon?
Okay. If I tell you that I applied for only one company, that is Amazon, and I got into it, will you believe it?
I might have seen your resumes in.
Truth, people, no one can do that. I'll, I'll tell you my truth. I applied for at least 500 companies. Like I used to get around 20 rejection, around 10 rejection mails a day. And I, like in Gmail, it was like every day I open my Gmail, it's unfortunately you are at this time you are rejected. So it felt very depressing. So that I created a folder in Gmail. There is something or like, put a label or something. For rejections, I made a folder and put everything in that so that when I open inbox, I don't have to see those rejections again. It will close that. So, so, so takes it takes a lot of attempts to get an off campus placement in a good company. There are like I got into another company in the middle also, like I got a service based company in on campus, and after that I got into a small startup, actually a big startup, um, with a decent package. That was off campus. It was a good thing. uh, I'll talk about that a little bit because their hiring process was a little different. It's called RT camp. They
Yes, yes.
they offer around, I think it was 15 LPM, 15 LPA. So the good thing about them was they just want you to apply with one click. Just click on Google, log in with GitHub and click on apply. They'll take the remaining details from your GitHub. They'll see how many projects you have done, how many contributions you have done. They'll look at the quality of your code. It's automated in some way, and then they'll shortlist you. And after shortlisting, so I hope you get the idea. Instead of just filling out, these are the experiences, these are the things I did, just one click, it's done. I hope more companies do that someday. But yeah, in the interview also, it was just questions based on the projects, what you have done in open source, things like that. And and yeah, that I got into that product based company, and then I kept. Then actually I gave up. I thought, okay, this is what I deserve. I stopped. Then actually, even though I gave up, my friend, like, I'm sure you know Badal, he kept pushing. He kept sending me links. Okay, bro, this job is out. You have to apply. He kept sending me at least 10 such jobs. I applied for most of them, and I got two of them actually. I think I forgot it to mention to you. I just around the time that I got into Amazon, I got an offer from PhonePe also, which was around the same level of package and everything.
Okay,
But
okay.
if you get some.
You mentioned open source. So how one should approach open source? Like we don't have any idea. Suppose I am from non-CS background. I don't know what is open source. So what's the importance of it and how one should opt for open source?
Yeah. Open source, the fundamental idea is instead of writing your software and selling it, you write it open. Okay. Anyone is free to use it. You publish it on GitHub, you take it, use it. There are two main ways to approach open source, and people mostly talk about only one of them, that is contributing to others' projects, other big projects. Let's say Google has a big project and we write some code to it, and that's a good reputation. That's what usually people speak about open source. But one another good, equally good option is creating your own projects. Project that I made, that browser extension, it was completely open source. That is the only open source contribution I made. Some small contribution, some repositories here and there I have made, but the main open source thing I did was this one project. My project, I did it myself and I made it open source. So that's an open source contribution. And like if I get stars on my project, that belongs to me. It doesn't go to another company. So that's also one way to go for. So if you're thinking about some project to build, that can be the same as actually open source. You can build the project open source and make it something useful for others, and that will be it. Yeah.
Okay. And also, the hiring process of RT Camp was solely based on GitHub. So, how one should, create, like, handle his GitHub profile or manage his GitHub profile for that? Because what usually we do, we create our whole project and we just push it in a single commit. Like, a whole website is pushed into single commit. We are not, using the version control system. So, like, what's your take on this? How one should approach all these kind of stuff?
The use of version control system should not be for showing it on GitHub. Like if you, it's a very useful tool that you can use. Let's say you built some features, you want to build a new feature, and in the middle you feel like this feature is stupid. I want to go back. Usually there will be no way to go back if you are planning to fit into all into one. So if you yes, it takes less than 10 or 20 minutes to learn version control system, Mm, learn Git commands and all fully, and yeah, I built a feature. This is it, one commit. Now I start trying to do something, another commit. You keep doing that, and when you push it automatically and naturally, your GitHub becomes populated enough that it doesn't look empty. So yeah, uh, showing off your GitHub should not be a priority because it's not very useful. RTCam was a very big exception. Usually, companies do not look at your. Let's say I apply for Amazon. No one from Amazon is going to open my GitHub profile and see does this guy know coding. No, no big company does that. They don't have the time for that. So RTCam was an exception. So I don't think you should target for showing things on GitHub. But for learning VCS, it's really good.
Okay, okay. And what resources you followed during on-campus placements and in your off-campus placements as well? Because when I talk about on-campus placement, so there are common resources between all of them, all the students. But how was your strategy during off-campus? What changed?
Practically the same. When you talk about big companies, they only ask for DS, nothing else. Some I've only heard that companies ask about core subjects like OS network and all. No one except for that service based company which hired me, they only ask the core questions. Others were completely and purely these kind of questions, DSA and some some managerial kind of questions only. And another thing I would again like to talk about RTCAM's interview process was they had a more practical approach, like in terms of the question to ask. Um, like let's say you get a question like, how will you implement adaptive bitrate? Let's say if you're playing YouTube and you want to switch the clarity from 270 to 480 or something like that, how will you implement that? That's a very practical question. It's if you don't know the answer, totally fine. But at least you'll be able to say the things that you know around it. Okay, this is bitrate, this is size, this is something about networks. That is the only situation where I had faced anything other than DSA technical questions. Otherwise, it's all DSA. And for um, preparation, I would say, yeah, it's this website called Neat Code. I'm sure all of you knows Neat Code.
Neetcode.io.
The list of Yeah, neetcode.ai, which has the list of questions. 2-3 lists there are, I believe. So that really helps because like tell you are planning to master binary search. Spend some time on it. Come back to it after some time. Like get very comfortable with that topic and then move on. So that whole process of which question to solve, that is solved by neat code. If you go to lead code, you have no idea which problem should I solve. You might be completely directionless. But go to neat code, take the questions, go to lead code and solve them. That really helps.
Okay, okay. There we get a structured path. One by one, we can do it, or according to our weakness, we can also solve particular problems.
Another thing about DSA is many people confuse complex data structures to be a good thing to learn. Let's say in our batch, one of the misconception was we used to come and ask, like Badal used to come and ask me, did you learn DSU, this joint set union? I said, no, your placement is gone. Like, you are very fun, but they must actually believe this, that you have to learn complex data structures so that you will get a good placement. No, absolutely no. Most of the questions that you get in an interview will be based on simple data structures, max to max graph with BFS and DFS. Dijkstra's A star and all very uncommon. Within this much of topic, and even within that, it will be focused around binary search, sliding window, these kind of topics. You have to have complete mastery over it. Maybe sometimes even string manipulations. Get the basics very right. Be very comfortable with an array. If you have, let's say, 20 hours to prepare, I would spend 15 or 16 hours on arrays and then only move to anything else, anything like graph or something. Spend time on simple data structures. That will be where the actual questions, most of the questions will come.
And when we should start solving lead code contest and all, how does it help or not?
I used to do it. I felt like it's not helping me in any way and I stopped it. It might help you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if companies actually look for you. I think they do. I'm not very sure. I don't have a very strong lead code profile. I used to have, like in first year, I used to do CodeChef and Codeforces and I had some decent ranking. I think up to 5 star on CodeChef or something. And then I stopped. So mm, I did not put it on my resume also.
Okay, so because many students, what they try to focus on number of questions they've solved on lead code, so that they can mention I've solved 500 plus questions on lead code, 750 plus questions. So what's your advice to them?
I don't know. They might be right sometimes, but um, I wouldn't do that because the number of questions rarely indicate your skills. You can find 200, like you can find 1,000 easy questions and do it, or you can find 1,000 questions. You can find 1,000 hard questions and copy it from somewhere. What does it matter? Like, how can anyone get people who are asking for referrals also? Like, once you get into a company like Amazon or something, people will ask you for referrals, and many of them they mention their resumes hallmark is that I've done 500 lead code problems. Brother, that doesn't mean anything. Like, do something else. I will be after hours. Yeah, like just speak something that matters. Yeah.
Okay, talking about referral. So how one should approach a particular person for referral purpose?
Uh, I got only one good referral in my whole life, and that was by approaching some Reddit. He was a complete stranger. I went into the DM on Reddit and asked for referral, and that guy was from Google, and I went to the final round of Google interviews. Um, no other like LinkedIn referral requests. Bhaiya, can you send me request? None of that has worked. And now that I think about it, I can kind of realize how it is happening. I'll tell you the perspective of someone who is receiving these referral requests.
Yes.
734 requests every day. You cannot refer everyone.
Yes.
Yes. And for like for getting a referral, either there should be something like nepotist kind of thing. Okay, I'm from your same hometown. I'm from your junior. You can plan it totally fine. I'm from a NIT. Fine. Okay. I won't say it. If I do it or not, it might be wrong. But okay, you can try that. Second option and the more honorable option is try to catch the attention with something worth. getting the attention with, like a good project or something decent, something nice, and you will get a report.
Okay, okay. And how's the work culture of Amazon, and what was the recruitment process of Amazon?
Okay, I'll start with the recruitment process. It was a university, what do you say, university campus drive kind of.
Yes,
It was also off campus. So you just apply with mentioning the details of your college, like which batch, everything. And if you are selected, you will get, if you are shortlisted by your resume, you will get an OLINT, online assessment. In that, there will be two hacker rank problems, not very complex, but moderately complex, I would say. You might need graphs for it, so to solve it. Graph level, I would say. Good understanding of graph level. Doesn't mean complex data structures. Good understanding of graph. Okay. Then there was some behavioral questions. There was a list of questions like, okay, it takes around 1 hour to complete. That's how Amazon judges your aptitude to work in that company. There's no shortcut to do that. Just answer them honestly. If you're selected, good. If you're not selected, nothing to do about it. Do your hacker rank problems very seriously. And the remaining behavioral questions, answer honestly. If you try to fake the answers in behavioral, you will eventually be caught, because the same question will be framed 2 3 different ways, and if you have conflicting answers here and there, I believe it will be like not a good thing. Then if you are shortlisted from that OA, there will be 3 more rounds of interview. uh, so yeah, all of them are practically, no, two of them are DSA and third one is behavior. And I can actually speak more about the DSA round because those guys who took my interview, they are my teammates right now. So I talked to them. I went and asked them, how did you make the questions? What were the questions? What was your impression of me when you did my interview and completed? So I think in this whole podcast, this might be the most important portion. How we form questions. It's mainly up to the interviewer. We have few options. One is you can make your own question. One of my interviewers did that because it was his first interview. He was taking an interview for the first time. So he had, like, some extra interest to take an interview. So he formed his own question. It was a graph question. It's not a lead code question. So if you mug up lead code questions, you are done there. Uh, that's one possibility. You might get such a question, a person who frames their own questions. Second is there is a question bank. If you get a question from question bank, that will be probably a question that is very famous or lead code. It was for me. I cannot mention which question exactly. I would say it's the top 20 questions in lead code, top 20 most famous in lead code. It was one among. So both
Okay.
ways it could hang. Like it could be very famous lead code question which you have solved at 20 times, or it could be a question that they made up which there is no way for you to guess or have a shortcut. It could go both ways. And uh what was their, what do you say, impression about me was they were very strongly suspecting that I was cheating. The reason is, I a while before that, like before taking that interview, I used to teach DSA. When I was teaching
Oh,
DSA, the thing is, we get very free with talking DSA. If I'm asked to explain a graph right now, I can do it very fluently because I've been doing it for a month. I've been teaching. So when I did the same for the questions that they asked, it was little unnaturally fluent. Like usually people have to, you do not talk DSA every day usually, right? You might solve it, but
formal definitions and all.
not exactly formal. Like, uh, yeah, formal definitions also, like speaking that also, and like the way in which we are able to not think about it and answer it.
Mm.
That was very suspicious. And they told me the only reason that they cleared the suspicion was, as I was answering, I was drawing it. I opened a new tab in my browser and I had a whiteboard open. For all my interviews, I did this. I had a whiteboard open and I drew, okay, this is a graph, this is circle, this is a graph. That kind of clears up that you are not cheating. If you're not cheating, if you are cheating, you probably cannot do that. That was the reason. Okay, I think that's something that you have to be careful about nowadays, because if if I'm an interviewer taking an interview, around 30-40% of my concentration will be to check if you are cheating, because there's a lot of cheating going on, or at least the, rumor of cheating going on. So we will be very cautious. So it will be your responsibility to clarify that I'm not cheating at all. Like it should be on your responsibility. So if you can draw it somehow or visualize it on the screen and present it somehow, it will be an extra plus and safe move to do.
And suppose we have encountered any particular question in interview that we do not know, or we know it about 20% or 30% of the question, like some particular solutions are coming into our mind. तो कैसे इंटरव्यूअर को कहें कि भाई ये मेरा थॉट प्रोसेस है, एंड हाउ वन शुड शेयर हिज थॉट प्रोसेस?
Okay. Mm, Ideally, that should not happen because if you are able to clear the OA of any interview, of any drive, the interview questions will be much simpler. And if you are able to clear the OA, the question itself should not be challenging for you. But
Okay.
by some reason, let's say, if it becomes challenging for you, what can you do? Like, you can start by saying what you know. Like, you can start by explaining what you know around the concept. You can ask them for questions. Best thing you can ask them, can I take a moment to think about it? Totally fine. No one objects that. You get the question. So, can I take 2 minutes to think about that question? You think about it and see if there's any patterns. Like, okay, it sounds like sliding window. If you are very unsure, just be transparent. I'm a little confused between whether it's a binary search or a sliding window. I'm not very sure. Could you help me with that? It's totally fine. That doesn't disqualify you by itself compared to if you go in the very wrong directions and go completely direction. Just asking some clarification or help might be totally fine there. Another thing is you could what do you say look for patterns like is it a binary search, is it a sliding window, these kind of patterns that you can commonly see in the questions. Yeah.
Okay. And uh, what was the work? How is the work culture in Amazon? Yeah, when mentioned that.
Uh, yeah, it completely depends on the team. Like before joining or no, like if I ask you honestly, the image about Amazon might not be very great. Like it's commonly said that there's a lot to learn. But it totally comes down to what team you are allocated. In my team, I would say like compared to any others that I have heard opinions about, it's very good. Like there is work. It's not like they are giving you free money. There is work, but at the same time, like the manager will be helping. Like okay, instead of blaming you, the manager will be helping you on okay, this is what is to be done. There is some higher pressure from the upper management towards you. The manager should be standing in like as a guardian there. These are hard things to get, but I would call it luck. Luckily, I'm in a good team, and the work culture as per se is pretty good. And now, I was about to say one more thing. Um, I think I forgot.
Okay, it's okay. So, according to you, what's the right time to switch from one company to another?
I remembered what I was about to say. Yeah, before even thinking about switching from companies, if you feel like your team is not good, you always can opt for internal switching. Right now, Badal also got into Amazon, but he was not finding in that team very pleasant. I'm not sure if it was a team or the work in the team. He did not find it very interesting. He asked for an internal transfer and he got into another team. It's very easy to get it. So, yeah, that's one thing that you can always do. So instead of blaming that the work is toxic in there, we can try for another team. That happens very often. It's totally fine. Yeah. You were asking something else.
Uh, no, I was talking about switching, like the from one company to another. What's the right time, or what's the thought process one should have? Like, okay, I have been there, I've learned these kind of skills, and I need to earn more. Like, I deserve more. Basically, that thought that might come in someone's mind. So, like, what's your opinion?
Honor- These are the honorable answers. Like, okay, I've reached a saturation point where I'm not learning anything more. Okay,
Yes.
resign. But on more practical side, what happens is, let's say I worked as SD1 for 1 year, which means within 5 6 months, or let's say within 1 month, 1 year, I'm supposed to become an SD2. that will be a very bad time to switch, because I have spent 1 year as an SD1, and if I switch now, I'll be starting my journey all over as an SD1 in another company. So you become an SD2 company, then you can think about it. I would not say immediately after you become an SD2 you're supposed to switch. There are some times that you should not switch.
Mm.
And after becoming an SD2, if you still find the company good and there there are things to learn, you continue there. Otherwise, yeah.
And how many of from your batch are in Amazon right now? Just for personal knowledge.
In I'll have to count actually. There is more than I expected. Me, Badal, Jayant, Chirag, I think four. Uh,
4 members. So
no. Oh,
okay, because what we see that our senior group is like cracking all the companies, like top companies, whether we talk about Amazon, IND Money, PhonePe, and all. So, there are other seniors as well. There are my batch as well. Like we are the seniors now. So, what made your batch unique from others? Like, uh, is there any formula, or is that we can do something one by one so we can get some, a particular result about that?
I think one person taking the initiative really matters. In our batch, it was Badar. Badar
Mm.
wanted everyone to get placed. It just as he kept pushing me for Amazon, he kept pushing others. He kept pushing Rahul. You mentioned PhonePe, that should be Rahul. He kept pushing all of these people. And yeah, I believe one person can make the difference.
Okay, sir. So, it's time to wrap up. Like, okay, so what's your one piece of advice for the MCA aspirants preparing for the MCA exam, NIMSET and all, and for the students who just enrolled in NITs, and also the students who are preparing for placements? So, just let's first talk about NIMSET aspirants. So, what's one piece of advice you'll give to them?
Okay. For NIMSET aspirants,
Yes.
if you have decided that you are for NIMSET, it's a very solid option. It opens you the possibility of getting into a very good company and getting a very stable job. Very stable job means a very good life. You cannot imagine what all changes once you get a stable job. It really defines the standard of your life. Like, consider this motivation if you want. The kind of job that you get defines the food that you eat, the place that you stay, the people that you talk to, the kind of time that you spend, the games that you play, where you go out, the people you hang out with. Everything is decided by the kind of job that you get. So spend some effort on that, and good things will come. And yeah, if you are aspiring for NIMSET, keep doing that. It will, you are getting into the right doors. Like, I'm not saying getting into an NIT will promise you all of these things. Getting into an NIT opens these doors. Second was for people who are in NIT.
Yeah, who just started their NCA.
Okay, build something. If you started something, if you started in NIT, you have the time. You do everything else. Like, take your time making friends, having a relationship. If you find okay, um, but at the same time, build something. Like, make something solid. It's a very fun thing to do once you start doing it. You might like. I know friends. I know my friends who feel intimidated by uh, seeing others' projects because they don't know how it works. Like, if I see that you have built a very great project, there are two ways to look at it. Damn, he's very smart. I can never be like that. That's one option. Second option is more realistic one. That is, before doing that project, he also didn't know how it worked. So I can also learn it and do the same thing. I can do something similar or better. Go that way. Build something. And personal suggestion will be build something from scratch. Make a design, go through every phase of it. And it really helps. If it also helps in showing off when it required. For example, interviews in like any place that you want to show off. Yeah. There are some life skills when it comes to programming. Let's say you can compare it to chopping. How is it to cooking? Like, if you know to chop really well, does that make you a really good cook? Not really. But there are some life skills which will not make you a good programmer, but enhances the experience. One of such things is your typing speed. Learn touch typing. if you don't know touch typing, you should be able to type without looking at the screen. It has like the right mappings of which finger you should use for which letter. Learn that. It's a little hard to do. It might take 1 week of like bad effort, then you will see the progress. That's one good thing. That's the most important. That helps in interviews also. Like if you type really fast, it will feel like, okay, this guy is not completely new to programming. He has done something at least. Second thing is Vim. I won't very strongly suggest that, but Vim is a good thing to learn. I keep suggesting this to everyone. If you don't know Vim, it is like this tool which is used in IDE and coding environments where um, you use key bindings like press K to go up, press J to go
Yeah,
down, things like that. Instead of, let's say, if you want to delete a line in coding, let's say you are doing DSH and you want to delete a line, what do you do? You either pick the mouse and go to the end, select that whole line, click backspace 2 times, one option. Second option, you click at the end of the line, command backspace or something, second option. The best option is if you could click double if you have Vim open and you click D 2 times, it's deleted. It's the perfect way to go for. There are many such uses for Vim. Let's say there are two curly braces, one opened and one closed. You want to delete everything inside that, which is a very common case. Like you defined a function, what you wrote inside was wrong. You want to clear everything inside. That's the three buttons in Vim. But if you are doing it with the mouse, you have to select and delete. Another life skill. That's what I'm saying. So this is for people who started with NIT. Like if you are in the third year and going through placement, don't try any of this. These are like two circles for you. But if you're starting with NIT, you have the time to learn these things and have a good time with it. And we in our batch used to have typing speed competitions, and we used to bet, okay, if you type faster than me, I'll buy coffee for everyone. Things like that. It was mainly between me and Badal. Yeah, but yeah, it helps.
what was your highest typing speed, sir?
My highest I'll not be able to achieve right now. Right now I'll be able to do 100, or something. My highest was around 118, 119.
118. Okay, okay.
Yes, 118.
Oh, yeah.
How is yours?
Mine are also 116 around. That's my highest.
Nice, nice. So you know what I'm talking about. When I say
Yes,
typing is usable, you know what I'm talking.
there are a few students who are from non-CS backgrounds and also a few students who are from Hindi backgrounds. So they try to improve their communication skills. So how one should improve his communication skills, and also how non-CS background students should not feel that okay, this is not for me. So what's your
But
advice to them?
I'll give you an example for non-CS student. That is me. I did my BSc in physics. So what I'm saying is 3 years are more than enough to learn everything in computer science, like do enough for interviews, prepare everything, build a project. It's enough. 3 years are more than enough. And if you talk about MCA, I don't know about other colleges. In NIT, MCA start from the very beginning. It's not like they us that you already know programming. It is start from the beginning. There will be zero issues with you. Like it's not like I used to think that people who came from BC or something, they are already way ahead of me, that I'll have to somehow prepare lead code before joining, and I did that, and I ended up being like better than everyone in that batch initially, and others improved a lot. Yeah, it's not like if you are from non-CS background, if you do lead code for 1 month, you'll probably be better than most of the other candidates who are joining with you. So doesn't really matter. CS, non-CS doesn't really matter. Coming to Hindi medium people, uh, it is really important that you learn some level of English, because no matter what, इंटरव्यू तो तुम्हें इंग्लिश में ही देना पड़ेगा. तो by the time you are in NIT, you will get to speak English to someone at least. Use that. Being from South India, when I was in any part of North, I had to use some language. I had to either learn Hindi very well or English very well. And usually people go for learning English very well and Hindi to a moderate survivable level, which is what I have also done. But if you are from a Hindi speaking region and you are studying in a uh, Hindi region or college, the issue is you are very comfortable. You don't have to speak in English for any reason, and you can live with Hindi. That comfort is the main issue. You try to speak to those South Indian friends. Try to speak more to someone. It might be very weird for you to go to let's say we are both Hindi speaking people. We are friends who hang out every day, and immediately I start speaking in English. It
I'll make fun of you. Yeah, nothing else. Is
the option maybe to talk. I have heard many people advising that your friends should sit together and start talking in English. It's never worked.
doesn't have never work.
To someone else. Yeah, talk to someone else, start speaking in English, and you need that for when you are going for the interviews. And also, it's if we can communicate in English, good. That is enough. But if you are able to interact, like make some jokes around the middle, like do something, be comfortable with it. That helps in setting the mood of the interview. Might not help always, but it brings you a little extra level of comfort where you'd be able to focus on your problem solving more. So, and the more you invest in learning a language, it might be good.
Okay, and there is the last set of students who are going to appear for placements, on campus placements, or if someone is having bad luck, so he has to prepare off campus placement. So, what's your advice, guidance to them? What roadmap to follow now?
I would say, if you're talking about the people who are not able to get a placement in on campus, I believe most of the people who are from NIT who uh, are in some good companies will be ready to help them. Like ask them for referral, they'll help and uh, get that and keep preparing. Like preparation is nothing different. Like you just do the same thing again and again. Do need code, do the problems again, like do the same thing. But yeah, you can take some help. Like you are in a situation that needs help, so ask for help. Yeah, that.
I'm done with my questions. Anything you would like to add? Anything you would like to mention that we haven't included so far?
What is it like that? Yeah, nothing much. Like all I could say is, if you spend some effort in preparation right now, it really pays off. Like there might be enough reasons to get demotivated. Like the market is bad. When I was doing it, it was very bad. There might be other reasons to get demotivated and not to prepare. Like stop preparation. Like okay, there's no market. There's the point in study, but you can never know. Market might recover. Something might get better. You might somehow get an interview. Be prepared. So once you are ready and once you get an interview, it's life will be good once you get a good placement. So don't be sad. It'll be better. Keep preparing. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Uh, Once again, thank you so much for joining us. It was just the best podcast that I have ever had. Of course, you're my senior. Always, you will be always there to guide me, guide my audience. So my audience can also ask for referrals, asking the tag of NIT with the tag of NIT. They can ask for referrals to you. I'll drop your ID in the description below. So yeah, any feedback for us to improve?
They can they ask by the tag of NIT, but I would really prefer it. They come if they could come up with something impressive in their message. It's not like shit everything.
Okay, any feedback, anything that we can improve from our side?
No, man, it's all good. Like, I'm really glad that you are doing this. I've watched your podcast from where I think I've been watching it from the time you started. I think I've commented on it a few times also.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
really good that no one from our batch has done it in any serious way. So good job doing this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.